they have these OnlyFans where you got these women sitting around in their bedroom twerking or fucking these dudes, whatever it is they're doing, and you got people paying for it to watch. You know, the internet is like, as I said, the internet wasn't really made for that. It was made to push the word. You know, but yet these people are using it on the left-hand side for wickedness, whereas we're using it on the right-hand side for righteousness. Yeah. And as I said, the whoredom of a woman can be known in her haughty looks and eyelids. So you could just see it all around. These people are just filled with pride. Yeah. What does it say? The city shall be destroyed because of their great pride. Yeah. So it's coming, man. Don't think it's not coming. Don't tarry, wait for it, because our Lord is not slack as some may count slackness, but is long-suffering to usward, that none should perish, but that all should come to repentance. So what does that mean? It means that the elect need to be sealed first. Because we know that not all Israel is going to be saved on this side, but yet the elect have to be saved. So therefore, before the destruction can come, the elect has to be sealed. And the apostles are frequently saying these days that they believe that the elect is sealed, or if not sealed, damn near to being sealed, because of discerning the times. In 2 Ezra, the 9th chapter, it says, measure thou the time diligently. By measuring the prophecies and discerning the times, we know that this world is at its end, man. Because just like it says, I'm roughly paraphrasing the scriptures, but just like it says, when you know that a woman is pregnant, and like you could kind of see when she's about ready to give birth, you know that there's a child coming. You know what I'm saying? Just like with the world, when you see these prophecies coming to pass, you know that the Yahushua is coming back. And through faith, that's what we believe. You got something?
Yeah. Just a point on the social media thing. If you just go on YouTube and tap on death by selfie, you're gonna get a load of videos come up. People, mainly women, probably about 70-80% of the women are dying of the selfies, because which would tell you that the Most High is judging them. He doesn't like that. That's very narcissistic. I remember walking down the road not too long ago when I was going to the phone shop, seeing these two young girls, really like young, that could be my daughters, walking. They weren't really concentrating on the street, and I had to say, it was like too obvious, man. And I had to say, if you keep looking at it, you're going to break the screen, man. And you know, they burst out laughing. Which really, the Most I've said made me say that. It's like a warning to them, because they're not looking where they're going. Just that narcissist, me spirits on them.
That's,
you know?
Right, and that's a beautiful point, because the scriptures say in the last days, men shall be lovers of themselves. That applies to you women too. They're lovers of themselves. A lot of these women think they're so good and they're so hot that they're beyond judgment. That they're somehow so pretty and so special that they're above judgment. Well, guess what? No, your ass is dead wrong. And you're going to be finding out the hard way. On the topic of what you were just saying about death by selfies, you know, I say Barakathi Hawba Shemi Hawashai. I'm glad to see that. And I'm going to go home and I'm going to look that up, because I have actually seen a couple of stories myself. Of, for example, there's a woman taking a bath, and she was using her phone in the bathtub, and she decided to put it on the charger in the bathtub. The phone dropped in the water, she got electrocuted and is dead. There's other stories of girls driving around in a car, and there's, you know, they put their hand up and they're singing songs in the car, and they're speeding, the car smashes and crashes. I actually saw the video of them in the car singing around, and then the car crashed. I was, again, Barakathi Hawba Shemi Hawashai, man. Wadi Hawba Shemi Hawashai, for bringing judgment on these people, man.
I think some brothers who know about the black, what they call that, dark web, right? They can, terrible stories. But there's one that I did see, right, where someone was on a train, a woman was on a train, and she had her phone looking at it, and you going fast, and the train came towards her. And then you know what happened? They cut it, but woo, that's some way to die. That is.
That's great judgment, man. And there's another one as well. So let's chat about them. There's another one as well. Apostle Gabar done a video on it where there's a woman and she dropped her phone on the train track, and she jumped down onto the track to try and pick the phone up, and she couldn't climb back up. She got splattered by the train. And again, he went into her social media, because on her social media, what was it? It was all about, you know, them selfies, all about me. That spirit's going to be taken away, man. Once righteousness is established on the earth, you're not going to have these people walking around in their pride. They're going to be having their heads down, man.
Because really and truly, women were made to have which that guy, that insider, he goes into it, Kevin Samuels. But women were made, which he's on. He's right to a certain extent, but scripturally they're made to have relationship to bring forth seed for the man.
Yeah.
So these women, they've gone right off the rails. You couldn't have a relationship with them. So the master said, well, what's the point you being here? You might as well, he just takes them out. You could never have a relationship with a woman who's narcissistic.
Exactly.
She can't relate to you because she's in love with herself, and you be just be a servant. So that you can't. These women have to go, man.
That's the good.
What you can't. Which Salakia, man.
No, keep going. That's a very
you
good
can't
point.
really call them women. You call them demons because women means to serve.
Yep.
So these creatures, what people call women, are not women. They're demons.
Well, they are demons because the brother Urami was saying yesterday that the word demon actually means intelligence. And what did King Solomon say? I find more bitter and deaf the woman whose heart is all snares and nets. Now we know the word heart in Hebrew is lab, which means mind. So therefore the woman in this day and age, her whole aim is to try and ensnare you to get you to serve her, rather than her doing her real role, which is to serve you. So, like you said, you can't deal with these people, man, because unless you're willing to bow down your back and have them walk all over you, all it's going to be is just pure contention, because she ain't going to want to humble herself. That's why when Yahushua has to come to humble these people. When he comes, every knee shall bow and every tongue shall confess. It's not going to be in debate who the true master of the universe is when Yahushua comes back, man. So, reading on. I think I finished that first article. Right. Yeah, that's the first line of article finished, but there's another one. It says restrictions could return if C19 spirals, minister admits. It says C19 restrictions could be reimposed if the pandemic spirals back into unacceptable levels, a minister admitted today. The government is pressing ahead with ending lockdown laws on Monday, despite a warning from England's Chief Medical Officer, Chris Whitty, that the number of C19 hospital patients could be quite scary within weeks. It says a further 48,553 confirmed C19 cases were announced yesterday, including 5,743. And it says Solicitor General Lucy Fraser said the jabs rollout had severely weakened the link between cases, hospitalizations and deaths, which are rising far more slowly. 63 fatalities were announced yesterday within 28 days of the individuals testing positive. Boris Johnson said he wants the ending of legal restrictions, which was delayed by a month, to be irreversible. But with Britain's third wave growing fast before Freedom Day, Mrs. Fraser told Sky News, of course, it continues on page 5. It says, of course, the situation where it's like a burner. Of course, the situation where it's unacceptable and we do need to put back further restrictions, then it is of course something that the government will look at. So this is all coded messaging. It's like it. This is all coded messaging because Esau knows very well what his plan is. These are the secret counsels of the wicked. As I said, just because you're having a good time doesn't mean Esau doesn't mean the wickedness stops just because you're having a good time. So while a lot of people are chilling, playing it cool, laying back in the park, Esau is planning the next steps of their demise through further lockdowns and further pressuring towards getting people to take the jab and stab, and then ultimately the mark. They're probably sitting down in their secret councils right now discussing this stuff. Let me get this in Psalm 64. This is Psalms, the 64th chapter, from verse 1. Hear my voice, O power, in my prayer. Preserve my life from the fear of the enemy. Hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked and from the insurrection of the workers of iniquity. So what you've got is the elite banking families who control this society, who give the orders to their lesser luminaries, as you might call them, such as your government officials, your prime ministers, your presidents so-called, they're all following the agenda of the elite banking families, which is the secret council of the wicked. Because these elite banking families, they don't come out and say, yeah, we rule the They don't come out and say, yeah, we rule the world, and what are you going to do about it? They hide themselves because they know who they are. First and foremost, I read before, Esau shall be a vagabond in the earth. Let me get that one. This is Genesis 4 and 14. 4 and 13 is like it. And Cain said unto Yahweh, my punishment is greater than I can bear. Behold, thou hast driven me out this day from the face of the earth, and from thy face I shall be hid. I shall be a fugitive and a vagabond in the earth, and it shall come to pass that everyone that findeth me shall slay me. So Cain is basically still that fugitive and that vagabond in the earth, which is why he's running around calling himself all these different names other than what he really is, because he doesn't want people to know who he really is. That's why on the YouTube, when we're putting up these videos now, exposing Esau for who he is, they'll take your videos now for using the term Esau or Edomite. Now, isn't that anti-Semitic? When you really think about it, isn't it not anti-Semitic to stop people from speaking about someone who is Semitic? That's anti-Semitic. That's anti-Semitism right there. But people aren't that smart. They don't know what the word Shemitic means. It's not Semitic. It's not S-E-M. It's S-H-E-M. Anti-Shemitic. We are Shemitic because, as I said, we descend from Shem as Israelites. But Esau too is a Shemitic, and Esau is also a Hebrew. Esau is a Hebrew Edomite, whereas we are the Hebrew Israelites. You know, so once you get into things, like as I said, Genesis the 10th chapter gives you a breakdown on, I believe 14 of the nations are categorized in Genesis 10, and then you get Lot and Ammon, which is around Genesis 18. Then around Genesis 25 you get the final two nations, which is Esau and Jacob, the final two nations. And the controversy is all about Jacob and Esau. Now that's what this whole thing is about. The controversy between Jacob and Esau. They're like the two main players in this game, or in this film. So what was I reading again? I was reading this. Yeah, so basically the reason why I was reading that article is pretty much done with that. The reason why I was reading that is because Esau is planning to put these lockdowns and restrictions in again, because you know what? The lockdowns have been a success. You got to look at the end game, man. You got to look at the end game. Some people might be looking at this situation on the simplest level and thinking, okay, what did lockdowns achieve? People still, people lost their jobs, they lost their businesses, all this kind of stuff. What did lockdown achieve? I'll tell you what lockdown achieved. Lockdown achieved these people lining up to take the jab, and they're taking the jab. That was the whole plan. It wasn't about, we're just going to lock them up so that they can be safe for a few months. No, the whole plan was to bottleneck people into lining up, getting themselves stabbed in jab, and also to consolidate the resources, because a lot of mid-level businesses have folded. So therefore now, you've got the super rich and you've got the regular people. That middle tier of, okay, I'm doing okay, but I'm not super rich, I'm not super poor, that whole middle tier is being destroyed. Esau just wants to have all the money and you have nothing. Here's another example of it, man. With this digital currency thing, Esau's trying to do away with the money system. Like, he wants to get people off of trading with gold and silver, which he already accomplished by destroying the gold and silver standards. Now we're walking on with paper in our pockets, calling that money. But Esau's next step is to make the money digital. Because when he makes the money digital, he can control when you get paid, how often you get paid, how much you get paid, and he can also put a time limit on your money. Check this out. For example, I heard the elder from the London Central Choir come talking about this, and it's a good point. What Esau can do is he can have money that has a time limit on it. For example, you can say, okay, I'm going to pay you £1,000, but you have to use the £1,000 in your account within 31 days, otherwise that money is no longer there.
None and void.
Yeah, so therefore, that destroys people's ability to save money. If you can't save money, you can't gain any more, you can't build up your economy.
Financial security.
Yeah, you can't build up your financial security, that's the right word to use. You can't ever climb out above your station. So therefore, if let's say you're getting £1,000 every month, but on the 29th of the month it's going to disappear, you have to use that money within a limited time. So therefore, that's even more wicked, because Esau can control the people even more by saying, look, you know what, man, you're only going to get paid this much, and if you don't comply, you're going to be shut out from society because we're going to turn your chip off, and without having the chip you can't access things like public transport. You can't go into supermarkets without having the MOB. You can't get on a plane or a train without the MOB. This is what I'm saying. These people think they're free. They are not free at all. We are yet to stay in our captivity. I'm going to bring out, what is it?
And he wants, if I could just add,
Yeah,
he wants to keep tabs on your transactions. Any little transaction you make, he wants to keep tabs on it.
Exactly.
Now, if you buy gold, you got to give your, because gold is that precious now. You got to give your name and address and all that.
Madness. That's madness. I want to bring out Haggai 1 and 6. Yep. This is Haggai, the 1st chapter, and the 6th verse. It says, "Ye have sown much and bring in little." Yeah, Salakia. Let me read from Haggai 1 and 5. It says, "Now therefore, thus saith Yahweh of hosts, consider your ways. Ye have sown much and bring in little. Ye eat, but ye have not enough. Ye drink, but ye are not filled with drink. Ye clothe you, but there is none warm. And he that earneth wages to be put into a bag with holes." Now what I just described is the ultimate bag with holes. You'll never be able to save any money in Esau's New World Order. You won't ever be able to rise above your station in Esau's New World Order. You are literally going to be a perpetual slave for all of eternity if Esau was to have his way. Esau is either two ways. Either you serve me or you die. That's Esau's whole agenda.
Yeah.
That's why you can't
My
be
way or
friends
the
with this-
highway.
It's like, yeah?
My way or the highway.
Yeah, my way or the highway, yeah. And
They got that from your whole side, which your whole side, that's right, which is right on righteousness.
yeah.
Your whole side is a tyrant in righteousness. They're tyrants on the left-hand side in wickedness.
That's a good point, and it shows that again, Yahweh deals with everything in a perfect balance. You know what I mean? He creates the evil on this hand and he creates the righteous on the right hand. It's all done in a perfect balance. And in order to balance the equation and to solve the problem on this earth, Esau has to come out of power. That's the thing. That's why I don't understand how someone could come into this truth and then decide, you know what, I want to go back into the world, because there's nothing in the world, man. There's nothing in the world. This whole thing, like if you was to go into the world, there's glass ceilings on what you can do. You know what I mean? You might, let's say you become a famous rapper, what you're going to have to do, you're going to have to push Esau's agendas. You're not going to be able to make songs about what you want to sing about. You're going to have to be singing about things that Esau wants to push, such as adultery, LGBTQ, all this madness. Why do you think...
Backs that thing up.
Yeah, there you go, backs that thing up. That's stupidness. What was that guy called, Juvenile?
Yeah.
That's his 5 minutes of fame. They've got him on NBC News talking. That's as good as it's going to get for that nigga. Sorry to put it that way.
And they were making mockery. Even you got the 2/3 saying, you know, was it Lord Jamar and Godfrey the comedian, you know, which I sent it on the group chat. Even they can't get with that. They even know that. What kind of, they know this is low, man.
It's as see-through and shallow as a puddle.
Yeah.
But you know what? Esau's like an old horse with no new tricks.
Yeah, he ain't got no new tricks.
Yeah. And his old tricks that used to work in like the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, that shit is done, man. That shit is done. Us prophets have been risen up now, and we can see straight through your lies and the things that you might have been able to pull the wool over our eyes before. You ain't getting away with that shit no more, man. And the longer this thing goes on, the more this word goes out. Because we ain't stopping, man. Yeah, you might pull down our channels, you might take down a video here and there, but guess what? We're like the Hydra. You know, I don't know if anybody's watched the film Jason and the Argonauts. Yeah, Jason has to get the golden fleece, and there's a point where he has to fight a Hydra, which is like a 7-headed monster. And you cut off one head, but guess what? The other head's still coming at you, man. That's what this truth is like. It's like a Hydra. You cut off one head, you shut down one brother's channel, 2 more channels are going to spring up. That's the will of Yahweh, Shemi Yahweh Shai. It's like this grass, man. We've got grass in this field. You cut it down, does that stop it? No, it's going to grow up again.
Yeah.
So you can't stop this truth, man.
It grows quick now, and
exactly. You cannot stop this truth.
Can't stop it.
You cannot do anything against the truth, but for the truth.
Yeah.
So everything that you're doing is complete folly and vanity. Thinking that you're going to stop this, man. Fuck you, YouTube, man. I'm talking directly to you now, man. Fuck you. You people sitting there watching YouTube, monitoring our videos. Guess what? There's judgments coming from your ass.
Cursed.
There's judgments coming from your ass, because you know what? When you take down our videos, you are, what does it say? Follow not a multitude to do evil. Yeah? If you're sitting there and you hear our videos where we're prophesying this word in truth and sincerity, and you're clipping our channels and you're clipping our videos, guess what? You're going to have to answer to Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai for that, because you are actively coming up against his prophets. You are trying to hinder the work of the Most High himself. So you're going to have to pay for what you've done. Don't be sitting there thinking, oh, well, I'm just doing my job. I'm just working the 9 to 5. And my boss told me to do it. Don't think that there ain't no Jake's working up on YouTube, man. There's Jake's working there, seeing these videos, clipping them. Guess what? You're doing the will, the lust of your father you will do. You know, what does it say? Yeah, the lust of your father, you of your father the devil, the lust of your father you will do. He was a murderer from the beginning, talking about Cain. So you're there sitting there working up on YouTube. You're obviously working for the Edomites because it's the so-called Ish people that run that shit. You're there working your job. They're telling you, okay, take down these Israelite channels if they say this word or that word. So there you are, coming up against the word. You got blood on your hands, man, because you're hindering the word from going out. You know what I'm saying? So don't think that there isn't a price for what you're doing. Don't think there's not going to be a judgment for what you're doing. Right, so where was I going before that? I was reading Haggai 1 and 6 about the digital money. So Esau wants to have control of everything. It's like, no matter how much you give Esau, he can never be satisfied.
Never get enough.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, you can't deal with someone like that, man. You can't deal with someone like that. It's like, you can't be reasonable with someone who is completely unreasonable, which is why Esau has to be put in check. He has to be put in subjection, crushed underfoot by Yahweh Shai, because when Yahweh Shai comes back, he's coming with great power and authority to take Esau out of power and authority. Because we've got the basest of men in rule, and the scriptures say, what is it? As the ruler of the city is, so are they that dwell therein. So when you're seeing all this wickedness, I mean, you can't even walk at your front door for 2 seconds without seeing some fucking wickedness now, man.
Yeah.
Be it you walk out your front door, you see 2 women walking past holding hands, or 2 men walking past holding hands. Or you walk out your front door, you turn left, you see someone with a fucking tattoo on their head. You know, it's just ridiculous, man. You can't get away from the wickedness, and it makes you not even want to come out your house. But guess what? That's all part of the course, because wickedness has to flourish so that righteousness can come back on the earth and be established. Because we look forward to an earth wherein dwelleth righteousness. This place has got to go, man. This place is fucking full of shit.
I've got one, yeah. Isaiah 2:12. For the day of Yahweh of hosts shall be upon everyone that is proud and lofty, and upon everyone that is lifted up, and he shall be brought low.
Read that again, Baba Kasha.
Isaiah 2:12. For the day of Yahweh of hosts shall be upon everyone that is proud.
Yep.
And lofty, and upon everyone that is lifted up, and he shall be brought low.
That's right, that's beautiful, because I want to get into that, man. Let's talk about some destruction, man. Let's talk about some destruction. So I'm going to go into 2nd Ezra, the 15th chapter.
Oh yeah, talking about destruction, man. That thing over there in Germany, Luxembourg.
59 people died last time I checked.
Belgium and rising. They're saying over 1,000 unaccounted for, just swept away.
Good.
You know, if you've got something, you could bring it out. You know.
Yeah. So judgment is here. Judgment is coming. 2nd Ezra 15 verse 1. Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people. And that's, again, this Bible is only for you Israelites, man. This word of this gospel of salvation is only directed to you Israelites. You other nations, this salvation isn't for you, because Yahweh Shai only was only sent unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel. So yeah, it says, 2nd Ezra 15:1. Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy which I will put in thy mouth, saith the Lord Yahweh Shai, and cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true. Fear not the imaginations against thee, let not the incredulity of them that trouble thee, that speak against thee. For all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness. Yet behold, saith the Lord Yahweh Shai, I will bring plagues upon the world,
Yes.
the sword, famine, death and destruction.
Yes.
Yep. For wickedness have exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their hurtful works are fulfilled. Therefore, thus saith the Lord Yahushua, I will hold my tongue no more as touching their wickedness, which they profanely commit, neither will I suffer them in those things which they wickedly exercise themselves. Yeah. Behold, the innocent and the righteous blood crieth unto me, and the souls of the just complain continually. And that's a good point, and that's a good indicator for telling who is a man of the Lord and who is not. Because the souls of the just will complain continually, being in this wicked and corrupt society. You know, in this flipping system, this pit. If you're righteous, you're going to be vexed every day. The scriptures say Lot was vexed with the filthy conversation of the wicked, and that's how we are. You know, you can't turn on a television, open a newspaper, even walk down the road without seeing some wickedness, man. So every day it's vexing to your spirit. You know, it's just a vexation to be here. Sometimes you think, you know what, man, you're like some die and be in the spiritual world, man. Because you don't want to be here, but you know what? As the prophets and the mouthpiece of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, we have a job to do. And just as Yahushai had to do his job and fulfill the work that Yahweh sent him to do, we too have a job to do, and we have to fulfill the work which Yahweh Hashem Yahushai has allotted unto us. You know, and be patient, because our Lord is coming back to take us out of this hell. And we can't escape this hell without Yahushai, man. There's no way out, man. Because Esau's got every door, every window, every little nook and cranny covered. That's why it's going to be so great when Yahweh Hashem Yahushai reveals himself, because at the moment it looks like we're losing. At the moment it looks like there's no way that us little Israelites with our little YouTube videos and our little channels and no real community or anything like that. It seems impossible that we could ever win. But guess what? Yahweh is choosing the small things to confound the mighty. You know, Yahweh is pulling up the underdog, man. And us Israelites right now, we're the ultimate underdog. But guess what? We're going to end up winning. Just like when David slew Goliath, nobody believed David could take on Goliath. Goliath was a mighty man. But you know what? The spirit of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua was on David, and he took Goliath out in one hit. Well, yeah, one hit. One slingshot stone, and then he beheaded the dude. A slingshot, you know. Yahweh, Goliath even said, you know, am I a dog that you come out to me with sticks and staves? Roughly paraphrasing. David didn't even have the armor. But you know, he had the spiritual armor on, which is what we have. You know, which is according to Ephesians, the 6th chapter. Put on the whole armor of God, that you may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. Let me get that.
Surely the person doing it would be like, I suppose you would be like,
Right, this is Ephesians, the 6th chapter, starting from the 10th verse. Now actually, let me get the account of David and Goliath first.
That dog actually understands me.
oh, it's like a little face.
Oh my god, it doesn't have a leg!
Right. Right. So this is, I'm going to read 1 Samuel the 17th chapter first to give some context to what I'm saying. Right. So it says I'm going to read from 1 Samuel 17 verse 12. Now David was that son of Ephraim of Bethlehem, Judea, whose name was Jesse. So David was the son of Jesse, right? And he had 8 sons. And the man went among men for an old man in the days of Saul.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. And the 3 eldest sons of Jesse went out and followed Saul to the battle. And the names of these 3 sons that went to the battle were Eliab, the firstborn, and next unto him Abinadab, and the third Shammah. And David was the youngest, and the 3 eldest followed Saul. But David went and returned from Saul to feed his father's sheep at Bethlehem. And the Philistine drew near morning and evening, and presented himself 40 days. And Jesse said unto David his son, Take now for thy brethren an ephah of this parched corn, and these 10 loaves, and run to the camp to thy brethren, and carry these 10 cheeses unto the captain of their 1,000, and look how thy brethren fare, and take their pledge. Right? Now Saul and they and all the men of Israel were in the valley of Elah fighting with the Philistines. And David rose up early in the morning and left the sheep with a keeper, and took and went as Jesse had commanded him. And he came to the trench as the host was going forth to the fight, and shouted for the battle. For Israel and the Philistines had put the battle in array, army against army. And David left his carriage in the hand of the keeper of the carriage, and ran unto the army, and came and saluted his brethren. And as he talked with them, behold, there came up the champion of the Philistine of Gath, Goliath, by name, out of the armies of the Philistines, and spake according to the same words, and David heard them. And all the men of Israel, when they saw the man, fled from him, for they were sore afraid. And the men of Israel said, Have ye seen this man come up? Surely to defy Israel he is come up, and it shall be that the man who killeth him, the king will enrich him with great riches, and will give him his daughter, and make his father's house free in Israel. And David spake to the men that stood by him, saying, What shall be done to the man that killeth this Philistine, and taketh away this reproach from Israel? For who is this uncircumcised Philistine, that he should defy the armies of the living power? And the people answered him after this manner, saying, So it shall be done to the man that killeth him. And Eliab, the eldest brother, heard when he spake unto the men.
Oh, he is. Yeah.
Right, and his eldest brother, heard when he spake unto the men, and Eliab's anger was kindled against David. And he said, Why camest thou down hither? And with whom has I left those few sheep in the wilderness? I know thy pride, and thy naughtiness of thine heart, for thou art come down that thou might seest the battle. And David said, What have I now done? Is there not a cause? And he turned from him towards another, and spake after the same manner. And the people answered him again after the former manner. And when the words were heard which David spake, they rehearsed them before Saul, and he sent for him. And David said to Saul, Let no man's heart fail because of him. Thy servant will go and will fight with this Philistine. Shalom. And Saul said unto David, Thou art not able to go against this Philistine to fight with him, for thou art but a youth, and he is a man of war from his youth. Right? So nobody believed that David could win. When they were looking at him, they thought, Goliath's a mighty man of war from his youth, and David is still but a youth, right? So it says, And David said unto Saul, Thy servant kept his father's sheep, and there came out a lion and a bear, and took a lamb out of the flock. And I went after him, and smote him, and delivered it out of his mouth. And when he arose against me, I caught him by his beard, and smote him, and slew him. So David was out there, when he was looking after sheep, the Most High was preparing him for this battle.
Yep.
By sending the lion to take the sheep and the bear to take a sheep. Those aren't no lightweight animals, man. Those are flipping, if you saw a bear charging at you, man, that's your ass, man.
Yep.
And a lion as well. A lion in like an open plain like we're in like now. The lion's just going to devour your ass. Like King David, he was having none of it. So it says, And I went out after him, and smote him, and delivered it out of his mouth. And when he arose against me, I caught him by his beard, meaning he took the lion by its mane, and I smote him, and slew him. Thy servant slew both the lion and the bear, and this uncircumcised Philistine shall be as one of them, seeing he hath defied the armies